Fresh off of Hell in a Cell, Roman Reigns is looking for answers and a new right-hand man. With Jey Uso gone, Jimmy steps up to prove himself, but things get complicated fast. Edge is back, and he's not just here to settle the score, he's here to send a message to Roman by tearing his family apart. How does it all unfold? It's time to rewind the Bloodline. Welcome back to the Bloodline Rewind. I'm your host, Johnny Bake Show, and this week we're covering the June 25th and July 1st, 2021 episodes of SmackDown. This is part 33 of our ongoing series, so if you're new here, do yourself a favor and check out last week's historic review of Roman Reigns versus Rey Mysterio in Hell in a Cell. And don't forget to acknowledge us. Drop a like and hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support. But we have a big show as it is our last show before the fans return to the arenas. It is the final shows from the Thunderdome, so let's get to it. So fresh off of the Hell in a Cell match, we get a recap of Roman versus Rey to close out last week's episode. The show opens with the wise man talking to Roman in the locker room, and he says that the Mysterios are—
But from their hospital beds, they're acknowledging their tribal chief.
Roman stands up and Jimmy enters, and Roman asks,
"Where's your brother at?"
Jimmy says,
"He's a no-show tonight."
But he finally got a hold of him. Jay says that
he said he ain't coming back.
And that's not what Roman wanted to hear. Roman starts saying,
"I take him from being one of the Usos."
And he doesn't want to show up for work. Jimmy says,
"I'm here tonight. I got you."
And Roman questions Jimmy if he can do what Jay does.
"You're telling me that you can be the right-hand man?"
And Jimmy says he's not Jay, but he can do what his brother does.
"Prove it."
And this is such an interesting turn because Jimmy came back and he gave Jay all of this crap about being the right-hand man and being Roman's bitch. And as soon as Roman gave Jimmy a glimpse of the spotlight, Jimmy was so fast to take it to become the right-hand man. Tonight, there will also be a State of the Universal Championship address by our tribal chief. Jimmy is waiting outside of Roman's locker room when Paul walks out. Jimmy asks,
"What does Roman mean about prove what?"
"Your family needs a head of the table. It needs a tribal chief."
Family has one in Roman Reigns. Your family needs Roman Reigns to have a right-hand man.
And Jimmy says, they're 35 minutes into the show. What is he going to do? And Paul tells him,
"Win a match.
Tonight.
Paul asks if he would like him to set that up, and he says if he gets him the match
and you don't win."
And he gives a long dramatic pause and walks out. So Jimmy's getting a match tonight, and that's where we're going to go in this episode of SmackDown. Jimmy comes to the ring, and he is going to be facing Dolph Ziggler. Dolph comes to the ring, and we get started with a big collar and elbow tie-up. Jimmy hits a shoulder tackle and starts very aggressive in this match. Jimmy hits another shoulder tackle and an enziguri for a quick 2 count. Dolph gets control and rakes Jimmy's eyes into the ropes, and he hits a drop kick. Dolph gets a choke on Jimmy, but Jimmy is able to roll out and break the hold, but Dolph hit a elbow drop and he gets another choke on Jimmy. Dolph sends him into the corner, but Jimmy shoulders Dolph and then sends him to the outside with a tope onto Bobby Roode, who saved Dolph here. So if you're unfamiliar, the Dirty Dogs is Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. So Bobby Roode was ringside and he helped save Dolph here.
The table. Oh no.
Dolph hit a zigzag onto Jimmy onto the ring steps as we go to commercial break, and that looked so incredibly painful. The corner of the steps went right into Jimmy's spine. We come back and Jimmy is somehow quickly recovered.
The commercial break in just a moment. Ziggler though,
and was trying to hit Dolph with a Samoan drop, but his back couldn't take it, so we did tell a story here. Dolph hits the rope, but Jimmy hits a big lariat and then successfully hits the Samoan drop for 2. Jimmy goes for a super kick, but Dolph ducked out. He pushes Jimmy into the corner, and he hits a rebounding zigzag for a 2 count. Both men are trying to get up. They're trading some blows. Jimmy's able to fight out of the corner. Dolph goes for a famouser, but Jimmy catches Dolph into the powerbomb position. He rolls through for a quick pin, but Jimmy is able to kick out. Jimmy stands up.
Dolph goes.
He lands a super kick and he gets the win. So Jimmy proves that he can be the right-hand man for Roman Reigns, although I really felt that this finish kind of came out of nowhere and it was pretty flat. The match had some really cool elements to it, with Jimmy getting zigzagged on the steps, but he just somehow magically recovered and won this match. Jimmy heads to Gorilla as Roman was watching the monitor. Jimmy is very excited, but Roman doesn't seem impressed as his music hits and we're about to hear our State of the Universal Championship. And this was really interesting.
Let's do it.
Jimmy goes to walk out with Roman, but Paul stops him and he tells him to hang back. So Jimmy did not fully get the right-hand man blessing. So Roman is in the ring with Paul. Paul says that,
As we are here to acknowledge your tribal chief.
And he shows the footage of the Hell in a Cell match, and we come back and Roman is getting the Roman sucks chants. Heyman says Roman doesn't suck.
And here's the solution to the problem.
The Fiend got frightened. Strowman got slaughtered. Kevin got KO'd.
Edge and Daniel Bryan got pinned, stacked, emasculated, neutered, embarrassed, humiliated at WrestleMania, shipped off.
Daniel Bryan was man enough to come back, but he was shipped right back out. Cesaro got clobbered, then the Mysterios got launched straight to Hells.
In less than a year, the Universal Champion Roman Reigns has wiped out the entire division.
And Roman is going to have to change course to something that has never been done before on network television. And Roman is going to tell us. Roman grabs the mic.
You think you know me?
Whoa. Oh, my.
Edge is here and there's going to be a fight. Edge hits Roman with a lariat off the apron. He hammers Roman's head onto the announce table and he throws him back into the ring. But Roman hits a Superman punch. Roman grabs chairs and he's going to finish Edge off again, but Edge spears Roman as he gets back into the ring. So now Edge is going to concerto Roman, but Jimmy runs in and he starts pummeling Edge with punches to the outside. Edge throws Jimmy into the steps that he was just zigzagged on earlier in the night, and then Edge spears him through the barricade. Edge gets back into the ring, but Roman is on the ramp as he was able to get away, and Edge calls Roman out as we fade to black. So we got Edge returning, and that is something that I did not see coming here. So what did you think of Edge's return? Let me know in the comments below. So we are on to next week's show, which is the July 1st, 2021 episode of SmackDown. We start with a recap of Edge's return last week, and he's coming to the ring, and it is announced that Roman Reigns will defend his Universal Championship against Edge at Money in the Bank. So we're going to be covering Money in the Bank here in 2 weeks. So if you have not, subscribe to the channel so you know when we go live, and you can watch that when it airs. So Edge starts by saying that
WrestleMania was supposed to be the culmination of a 10-year story.
But it didn't happen. It wasn't in Edge's plans or vision. He took some time, but in that time, he started to think about the match. He says,
and Roman likes to embroider the truth, and he glossed over a lot of key points that happened at WrestleMania.
Edge's biggest fear was that Daniel Bryan was going to cost him the championship, and he did. He broke Edge's crossface. He pulled the ref out after Edge speared Roman, and Jay stopped Edge from hitting the concerto, which led to Roman spearing Edge for the win. And we covered this match here on the channel, so please go back and check that out on the WrestleMania Night 2 episode. The thing about what Edge is saying here is that he's not wrong about anything that he stated. He was in position so many times throughout that match, and if it wasn't for Daniel Bryan, he would have won. And I think the same goes for Daniel Bryan. If Edge wasn't in that match, he could have won as well. So them together was their own wrongdoing in that match. Edge continues on by saying he could complain about all of these things.
2006, Edge would have.
But in 2021, he understands that there's always going to be obstacles. Edge says that now that he's been in the ring with Roman,
I know I can beat him. Roman, you know I can beat you. We're the only ones that truly know because you felt it and I felt it.
Edge has proof, and he pulls up the image of WrestleMania when Edge had that chair bar shoved in Roman's mouth for the crossface. Edge focuses on Roman's eyes in this picture. He says, that's fear in those eyes. And then the camera tilts up to Edge's eyes, and Edge says, Those are eyes of a man that lives in another man's head. Edge continues saying that Roman's face last week solidified what he already knew.
I am the guy who's got your number.
And Edge says that he's going to beat Roman. It's not a matter of when.
I'm inevitable. And I'm going to be the Universal Champion.
We continue on into the show, and backstage, Jimmy meets with Paul Heyman. Jimmy is rocking a Yeet sweatshirt here in 2021. So Jimmy asks where Roman is because Edge is here and he's going to whip on him when he gets here. And he asks,
What is he waiting on? He's waiting on me, ain't he? He's waiting on your boy to step up.
He's going to Adam Pearce's office.
Main event, Jimmy Uso. I'm going to call out Edge, and I'm going to beat him all over the place.
So we're going to fast forward here. Edge is walking backstage and he's stopped by Megan Morant. She asks, how does Edge feel about Jimmy wanting to call him out? And Edge says,
you have to know that I'm walking into a trap out there, right?
Jimmy and Roman have to know that Edge knows what's coming.
That I know what's coming. And if they're trying to pull one over on the ultimate opportunist, it's a losing proposition.
He walks out there, Jimmy beats him down, and Roman's going to come in for a 2-on-1. He knows what they're trying to do.
But I don't care.
If that's what they want to do, fine.
They're going to face an angry, vindictive son of a bitch.
At the end of the show, Paul is in Gorilla with Jimmy before he's about to go out, and Jimmy asks, where's Roman? Paul says, we know how he operates.
The tribal chief Roman Reigns operates on the tribal chief's own time.
Everything he does for the family. All Jimmy needs to do is go out there and be main event Jey Uso. So Jimmy nods his head.
I will. I know where Roman is.
He calls Edge out and says, Roman isn't here tonight, and it doesn't matter because
I can handle you all by myself.
Jimmy says Edge isn't man enough to stand face to face with him, and he says that,
I promise you, this ain't no trap. This is just Uso calling you out.
So Edge finally makes his way out, and he says, you think you're smart because Roman is waiting in the wings? And Edge says, don't you see it?
He's using you just like he uses your entire family.
And Edge is now starting to play the mind games again. He's reminding Jimmy of Hell in a Cell and what happened to Jimmy.
What happened to your backbone? What happened to nobody's bitch?
And Edge says that Roman played a perfect trap.
This isn't a trap for me. This is a trap for you.
Jimmy's looking around for Roman the whole time, and he's nowhere to be found as Edge posts Jimmy. Edge is fully unhinged. He posts Jimmy again. He grabs the ring steps. Jimmy fights back with a super kick. He uses those steel steps to his advantage by bashing Edge's head off of them. He throws Edge into the ring and he starts smashing him, but Jimmy continues to look around for Roman, which gives Edge the opportunity and chance to recover.
Oh, and Edge now dropping.
And now Edge starts pounding on him. Edge puts Jimmy into the crossface, and Jimmy is tapping out, which I always find hilarious that in these non-match situations, when somebody gets put into a hold like this, they just start tapping. And it's just so hilarious to me. But Edge delivers a spear to Jimmy, and he's not done yet. Edge goes to the outside. He grabs a chair. He breaks the bottom bar off of it, and he's going to use it on Jimmy just the way that he did on Roman. Edge sinks in the crossface. He torques it into Jimmy's mouth, and Jimmy is now looking the same way that Roman was looking, that Edge pointed out at the beginning of the show. So that is how our show closes out. We now have a match set for Money in the Bank with Roman and Edge's return. We have main event Jimmy Uso trying to step up, and Jey is not coming back. But before we close out, I do have some news and notes to get you all caught up on everything that was happening here in 2021. Roman Reigns and Rey Mysterio Hell in a Cell match was placed on Friday Night SmackDown instead of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view for a ratings boost. So that's why we got that match and it was left off the main show. Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins were married on June 29th. And the Money in the Bank PLE is nearly sold out with 9,600 tickets sold. WWE announced that The September 10th SmackDown will be live from MSG, and the next pay-per-view after SummerSlam is going to be Clash of Champions on September 26th. So we have an outlook here for our September season, and we're going to be covering all of that here. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button and you keep coming back for more Bloodline content, as that was part 33 in the Bloodline Rewind. We will be back next week with the Road to Money in the Bank with the July 9th and July 16th SmackDown, along with more backstage news, as fans are officially back with the July 16th episode. I cannot wait to see what happens. So with that, I'm Johnny Bake Show, and we just called it in the ring.